I'm back. This is Kris Gardner of the Houston Roundball Review. Joining me is Ronald Hughey, head coach of University of Houston women's basketball. Coach Hughey, thank you very much for joining me. How you doing?
Chris, man, it's always an honor, man. I know we've been fighting to try to get this one in. I really appreciate your patience, and I'm always happy to be for the face-to-face with you because, you know, you represent who we are from University of Houston and being in Houston, and you've been there from day one. So I appreciate that.
No problem. Thank you for the props. So let's get right into it. You know, with COVID, I didn't see y'all face-to-face last season. So just summarize last season off the court, what you had to deal with, and then on the court, the success y'all did have despite cancellations and postponements, all those things.
Yeah, off the court, I start with was extremely new and hard, you know, especially when, 18 and 22-year-old young adults are used to going and having an opportunity to be and share times and fellowship with their friends and do those things. And now that was being taken away. The other part was the high risk of, actually being near someone and they're breathing on you that you can possibly get something or they sneeze or whatever the case may be, you could get COVID. And that was really scary. So before we could even get to any workouts or any of that stuff, we had to sit down with doctors just to kind of educate our young ladies and our staff and on how to approach things and to see if we even wanted to have a season, because that was the first thing. Like COVID came, it was a whirlwind. And I endured so many parent calls. I mean, it was, you're not thinking about the best interest of my child. You're thinking about basketball, and so we had to, come at it a different way with the educational piece to be able to fully get them to understand and go from there. But it was really trying, man. I mean, it was so many days where we didn't have full practices. And, you can, just to give you an example, our workout was one kid at one basket, another one at another basket. There was 4 in the gym. They were all at one basket with one ball, with their mask on, and they had to try to do a workout, shooting workout by themselves with no coach or anything. And that's how we started. And when they got done, they had to leave their ball right there. They had to go out the side door, the back door, and we had to go in, cleaning crew, clean the balls, take those balls, get new balls, and bring them over there, kind of spray down the whole area in the gym, and then let the next 4 come in. So you had like a 30 to 40-minute window before you could even get. And it was just crazy like that. And then it just changed the travel so much. Even with our buses, we all had to get on the bus. You sanitize all your seats. We didn't carry any extra food that you had to open up. It was all snack stuff that was already sealed. It wasn't any stopping for the bathroom. It wasn't any, it was those kind of things. So we had to make sure we endured that end. Then when we did fly, middle seats, face masks, gloves on once you got on there. Some people even did double mask. Again, you get into the hotel. Now we're carrying these COVID bags with wipes, spray, hand sanitizer, gloves, mask, everything in there. And so the first thing they had to do when they got into their room was wipe down everything. So that was totally new off the court for us. On the court, it was almost back to normal where you could kind of woo-saw a little bit, and so we played the game. But after the game, now you had 48 hours just to wait to see if one of the other teams got COVID or any of your kids started to show symptoms. And now it was going to knock people out for the next game based on the minutes they play and the position they play, or if you had a chance to guard that person for more than 7 or 8 minutes of the game. So that was new. So it always kept you on the edge of your seat, waiting on that next call to see if everything was okay. And I mean, hats off to our trainer, Kaylee, because she was the most stressed and the person that endured the most besides myself. I mean, and there was some days that I was like, Kaylee, we have to win this game. And you telling me I only have 5 kids that could practice today? So now you got to try to go and say, can I at least have them in film? Or can we at least do this? And can we Zoom with them? Those kind of things. So it was really crazy. But, that's where the staff and the kids and, everybody that when we say we're all in every single day. And it started to show because, it started to show in the season, winning games, because it was more mental prep than it was physical prep for us. So, and that's when the kids started to do it, started to get it. That's why I love the system that we have. You get better with it, and we don't change as we go. So when that scout come up, we don't say we got to guard this team different, or we have to change what we do offensively because of this team. We don't do that. We make people adjust to us. And that's the thing that helped us as the season went on. So everybody started to get in the flow of understanding. If I just get better at my craft or what I do, it's going to take care of a lot of things. And hats off to all the girls and the staff for doing that.
I want to ask you, you touched on it at the beginning. Did the team discuss that, coach, we don't want to play this season?
Oh, yeah.
How long? Yeah. When was that? In June, July, August? How close to that? September? When was that?
That was October when we started right before we started practicing.
So they really thought about it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We sat down and had meetings and talked about it. Yeah, because again, I told them, listen, I have a 2-year-old at home at the time. Mm-hmm. He's 3 now. I have a wife. So again, if you're not going to abide by the things that we're doing right now and bring risk to yourself and your teammates and your family and all of that, we might not have this season. Again, we needed everybody to be all in and look each other in the eye. And I think we grew so much in accountability that it was tremendous. But it started because of those conversations. Then we had it again when we got COVID.
Right.
We had to cancel the South Florida game and that trip. And we had another blow right then and there. Do we continue the season or do we not continue the season? We had that. And we had 7 or 8 kids who was like, I don't know about I want to continue this season right now. Some of them had COVID. Some of them were, just because of the contact tracing had to sit out and all that. And it was right around the time when we had to go to Memphis to play that game. And, we had to go with the bench kids and a couple other starters. But that was trying times. That was trying times. So we had that conversation again. We was on Zoom probably 3 times a week with the doctors. We even had pairs on the call, just to let them know that here's the deal. You're not going to lose your scholarship, this kind of stuff. And so, again, I think if we hadn't done that, we wouldn't have gotten through the season.
And dealing with COVID, you even had some key players get injured.
Yes.
And you had to deal with that too. So just talk about those players and the injuries.
First, when you talk about Julia Blackshell-Fair, tearing her ACL was such a freak accident for her because she's one of the strongest, most athletic kids on our team. And then you had Diamond Gladney just come up at the end with the plantar fascia stuff that we were really didn't even know where that came out of the blue during that game. And I'm trying to remember who else got injured. I think some other people got injured for a game or so. I remember Tatiana having her thumb, she didn't miss the game, but she wasn't effective as she needed to. But yeah, those injuries really took a toll on us down the stretch.
And despite all that, injuries and COVID, team finished 17-8. Most wins for this program in the American Athletic Conference in the AAC. So how'd you do that, Coach? How do you make all that happen and still deal with all the adversity and still go 17-8?
Well, I tell you, it's a lot of help from the man upstairs. I tell you that. I think the group got really, really connected with each other. And it was funny because the years before, when we could do so much team bonding to try to have them connected, we had so much adversity this year with COVID and all that kind of stuff. And it brought us together like crazy. I think the growth that some of the players, Layla Blair and Brittany and Erica and some of those growth kids came in and really sparked us as well with the Diamonds and the Tatianas and Jasmine. Of course, those kids bought in and saw where I can have an opportunity to play a major role if I would just get myself and be committed the entire time and have some accountability on myself. But I think the coaches ultimately did a great job as well, because we had so much one-on-one and two-on-two, Kris, because of the days that we couldn't have practice. When we got to a point to the season where the coaches can go in with them and work them out and those kind of things, I think the coaches did a tremendous job of doing those kind of things. Now you're doing those extra film sessions because you can't be on the floor. You're doing those extra weight sessions, Jazz knows those kind of people, because again, you can't be with your team and do things. And I think those things, all those little things, small steps added up to the big steps we took in conference, and were able to make the jump that we made.
And you mentioned her name, Jasmine Lewis. She really had a breakout year, I think. I think she began to scratch the surface of her potential. You know, she's 6'4", 6'5", big body. When she gets it down low, there's not really many people in the conference that can deal with her. Is that a matter of her confidence growing and believing she can get it done?
It started, every year we start off and we have role meetings. I bring them in with their position coach, and I said, this is your role based on where we are right now, from what you did this summer and where you are right now. And the first, we probably have those meetings right 2 weeks before the season. And Jasmine said, Coach Hughey, I'm not sitting on the bench this year, and I need you to continue to coach me hard, because again, I know I have it in me. I just need help pulling it out. And that was the thing that pushed it along. And her mom, Miss Michelle, was like, Coach Hughey, don't let Jazz feed you any BS. Just go ahead and get on her butt. And that was it. And so when we got to practice, we saw a different Jazz when she started to lower that elbow into Tatiana's neck and started making some layups. And we was like, oh, Jazz is not just going for being pushed around again. And now I just told Jazz now, because she already knew what she needed to be on the floor. She just need to be there with maximum effort, and she need to take care of her diet. And she bought into those things, and the sky's the limit from there. But again, like you said, when she made up her mind, she was tremendous for us.
Layla Blair, freshman, and because of the NCAA rules, technically she'll be a freshman again this coming season. Yeah. But just what are your thoughts on how she did last year in her first year in college ball?
I thought Layla, her faith was the thing that carried her most. When she wasn't playing early and that kind of stuff, and other people tried to get in her ear, and, she was the one that said, no, I'm in the best place for me. I know the staff and Coach Hughey and everybody else has my back, and they're just helping me get to where I need to be. Because I explained to all the freshmen, it's not a regular year. So you're not going to have all those practices and those 13 non-conference games before we get in the conference. And it's going to be different for you. It's going to take a little longer. And she bought into that. She's the one kid that we've had in the program that our men's staff have said, you're a gym rat. She's the one that woke our trainer up almost every morning. What time are you going to get to the gym, Kaylee? I'm going to be there with you. Again, it's 6:30, 6:45, Layla Blair getting all those shots up, doing what she need to do on that. And I told her, I said, Layla, when the light comes on for you on the offense and the defensive end, you're going to break into the starting lineup and you won't leave it. And she said, I believe you, Coach. And it started to happen for her. And I just, at the beginning, we just had to get her to play with other people. She got in the Oklahoma game and had 12 points in 12 minutes. It wasn't a whole lot of passing,
Right. I remember that. Right. Yeah.
And so that's what, like Layla, we went back and, the other key thing was I watched film with her. She was already watching with the assistant coach and watching with Ty and all of that. And she told me this. She said, that was the difference for me. You would bring me in, you would watch film, and it wasn't long, but this is a good play. This is a so-so play. This is not a good play. Those kind of things. And, it's not many times where the head coach is going to take a lot of time with freshmen, all the time. But I did it all year because I knew the sacrifice that we needed to make throughout everybody on the team. It was just tremendous of where we could be able to take it, because, again, because of the early work that she did, that's why I knew at the end of the Arizona State game, I can put the ball in her hand for the last 7 minutes and count on her to make plays, and we can go up and down with her.
What would you like to see her work on for this coming season and improve her game?
Just being consistent. That's the thing with her. She's in the gym every day. Now she got to consistently guard. Where she would go through with people from one side to the other, stop at the basket line consistently, go rebound consistently when you're in the paint. Don't wait for the ball on outlets. Get above the free throw line. Sometimes, they're high school, they run to the ball, those kind of things. So the things that we outlined that you need to consistently do to continue to get better, do those things. I really want her to be, in USA trials and things like that next year. I think it's time. It's time Houston have another one.
Let's talk about conference play last season. What did you like about the success? What disappointed you? Just overall summary of U of A's conference play.
What I loved about the success was the team coming together and fighting through all of it. Like I know, Kris, watch a lot of games, and there was some times that we were up and ready to go and had the lead, and then you would lose it in the last minute or two. There were times we went on the road and win a game, then come back home and lose. And there were times that we were, in 17, 18, we win all those games, and then next thing you know, you come down and you lose to the Tulsa, who was in last place at the time, and that kind of stuff. So I was just proud of them for sticking together and fighting through and said we want to battle and be in the top three and possibly win it. The thing I didn't like was all the different time changes that we had throughout because of COVID and adjusting and things like that was out of our control. Sometimes it made preparation really hard. Sometimes it puts a strain on the kids. We're flying in, we're supposed to play at 2, and now, they moved the game to 12, and you're playing at 12 now, 24 hours before, that kind of stuff. But it was out of our hands because of COVID, that kind of stuff. We was getting ready to play East Carolina. We was getting ready to get on the flight, and they said, wait, might have a possible, positive test. So now it throws off everything. And, 4 hours later, 2 or 3 hours later, we find out that it was a false positive, so we can get on the plane. But now you get to the hotel, you can't go to practice because it's 9 o'clock when you get there. So you can't have a shoot around because the game is already at 12, So it's just those things that I didn't like, but that were out of our control. But just happy we got through it. And, ultimately, I think the Florida schools, we have to, take a stand. It's that time.
That's you're leading into my next question. I was going to ask you, what year is this for you at U of H? Going into your 7th?
Just finished 7th.
So going into your 8th year. So where is the program in your eyes? Is it close to where you want it to be? Is it not where you thought it'd be when you first started? Where's U of H basketball in your eyes going forward?
Kris, I actually thought after 17, 18, 19 would be the year that we would be able to do it and do what we need to do. But we had a down year. We weren't really down. We still finished in the top 5, and but that was the disappointing. Now I think we have to leapfrog and go ahead and jump right to the championship. We won a game and you made it to the semifinals in the conference tournament. You made it to the top 3 and all that kind of stuff. And all that is good. And there's a good pat on the back and all that kind of stuff. But we're not in the moral victories. It's time to win the championship. It's time to consistently get to the NCAA tournament.
And you were, speaking of the NCAA tournament, you were the first of the first 4 out. You were, because of COVID, U of H was an alternate in case a school that was in a tournament had a positive test and couldn't participate in COVID. So what was that like? I mean, how did that work? How did they explain it to you? You still went to WNIT. You're kind of in limbo going, should we go to San Antonio? Should we go to Fort Worth? How did that all work out?
Exactly. Kris, when I got the call about it, man, it just punched you in the gut because it's like the season starting all over again. It's just everything up in the air, whether or not we're going to have a season, all that kind of stuff. So now they're saying, go ahead and travel with the WNIT, but you're going to be in San Antonio, in Fort Worth, but you can drive over to San Antonio if we need you. And I'm like, well, we'd rather just come to San Antonio and just, wait, no, don't do that, So again, that was what it was. And so we got a call in the morning that say everybody's, passed the test. And we got a call in the afternoon saying the same thing. And it got a little tricky around, I think, the 3rd day, the day before the NCAA tournament started, where I started getting some calls from other people on other teams saying they had some people that test positive and those kind of things. And I was like, really? And like, yeah, so you should be getting a call. And then I called, like, no, it's nothing. I'm like, stop playing. My friends just told me, and then it turned out a bunch of false positives and things like that. And so, but our kids were on edge. So I tried not to give them any information. I just tried to tell them we're in the WNIT, let's just go with it and those kind of things. But again, they know. They're on social media. They know all the stuff too. You can try to hide it, but again, they can read your body language because I was still a little disappointed as well. And then you have everybody else calling you like, y'all in yet? Y'all in yet? You got the call yet? That kind of stuff. So again, it just gets to a point to where you're like, man, forget it. And again, that's what we had to do and just focus on the WNIT because it's, nobody checked out because of COVID in the NCAA tournament.
When a team is in the first four out and does not get the call to be in the NCAA tournament, does the committee or you as a coach, did you reach out to the committee and ask them, what could we have done? What do we need to do? What kept us out? Kind of questions.
Yeah, Miss Chizer. I talked to Miss Chizer and she talked to the committee and they felt like the Cincinnati game was the game. If we won the Cincinnati game and we played better in the semifinals game by 10 or less, something like that, lost by 10 or less, we were in the tournament. They felt like since we lost the Cincinnati game, we had to make it to the championship game. The third scenario was there was still a possibility with us, even with the loss, with both losses, with the Cincinnati loss and the UCF loss, if that didn't happen with Missouri State and Butler, let me say Bradley and all of that. So we still had a chance to get in there. But when that happened Missouri State didn't go to their conference tournament, and then
Right.
Bradley, I think, ended up winning it and then getting the bid. I think that's who won it. I'm not sure. But that knocked us out for sure.
How frustrating was that for you?
Tremendously. I called what's her name at Missouri State? I can't think her name right now.
I know you're talking about. I know the coach talking about. Yeah. Mox. Coach Mox. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And she said, Hughey, I feel for you, but I just couldn't put my kids and risk them playing that game and getting COVID. And, as bad as I wanted to be upset with her, I would have did the same thing, especially when I'm undefeated in conference. I know we can beat all the teams. We already won the conference tournament. I know I'm going to the tournament. I don't think I would have risked it either. And it really punches you in the gut when you see that, when your kids work their tail off to get there and all the obstacles that you had to go through just to get to play a game. It really hurts.
Last season was the first for women's basketball for that metric, the net that been around on the men's side, I think 2 years previous. What you learn about it? What did they explain to you? Because it was still, especially this past season because of COVID, it seemed incomplete. Like,
very.
So what are your thoughts on that? I mean, did they explain it to you how it worked last season?
Well, they explained it to us, but again, like everything else, they just said it just have so many other possibilities. So, to give you one example, we could play a Power 5 at home and beat them. Let's say we play UVA at home and beat them, but go on the road and lose to UTA. The UTA loss on the road will hurt more than us winning that we thought would help us more with the Power 5. And we didn't understand that. It's things like that. So again, another example, Stephen F. Austin, who had I think they were like 5 points better than us in the net that we beat, and they didn't have a outside Power 5 win or anything like that, but they were still 5 points ahead of us. I think we were like a 52 and they were like a 47. And by the time it came around to the tournament time, they was like 29. And so
Yeah,
we were trying to,
their net was really, really good.
yeah, and they're trying
Yeah.
to figure out how, and they ultimately came and said because they won their games. I said, but they're playing teams in their conference, which are Southland teams, but teams that didn't even have a 500 record. And they were counting those things I said, so in our conference, non-conference, can we just go ahead and get 13 winnable games and be able, but that's not going to help you. What do you mean? That's what they just did in conference, But it's some of those things that they're still trying to work out. And I think if they would have started when the men started, we would have been further along. But now it's still confusing because again, it's trying to balance things off of 1 year and now going into the second year of it.
Yeah, because what I was told, a potential reason SFA's rank was so good was because of their defensive numbers were so outstanding. And I'm like, okay, but they didn't beat anybody in non-conference. They didn't, those things. So now you're telling me you're giving them credit for their great defense, but not really penalizing them for who they did not play.
Exactly.
So hopefully the committee will look at that and do some tweaking for this coming season with the net. Let's look toward this coming season, 2021-22 season. Who do you have coming back? Who are your newcomers?
We have everybody coming back from Diamond Gladney to Julia Blackshell-Fair to Brittany, Erica and Juju both are in grad school and they both are coming back because of COVID, giving them the extra year.
Okay, I knew Juju was coming back. I didn't know Erica was coming back. Okay.
Yep, Erica's back as well. Tatiana and Jasmine and Bria, of course, is back.
Layla Blair, of course.
Layla Blair, of course, our newcomer. Cameron is back, one of our freshmen last year, and Tae'lor is back. I'm trying to see if I admit anybody. I think that's out of all our returners. Our newcomers, we have AJ that we call AJ. Her name is Asha. She transferred from ODU, played at DeSoto with Bria. So she's one of our newcomers. Tierra Young that transferred from LSU is another one of our newcomers. Tamara is a newcomer. She was a JUCO player this past year. She's not on campus yet. She'll be on campus on July the 10th. She had to finish up some classes and make sure her GPA was where she needed to be and graduate. She had already graduated. Just U of H, we always ask for a little bit more on the curriculum for people to get in school, and she's finishing that up. She's tremendous, 6'2" kid that can play all positions. Then we, for two, 6'4", 6'5", that transferred from Purdue, grad student, be our first one that we recruited grad student. So plus international. So it's been a ride with her, with getting her in and getting her into grad school and her visa and all that kind of stuff. And it's one more I'm forgetting. Kendall Brown, our freshman.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And Kendall is played with Bria and AJ, and Kendall is there on campus competing with everybody else now. And, we're really looking forward. I think this team can go far.
And that sounds like you got 3 from DeSoto. Is that right? Is it more than 3 or just 3?
It's just 3.
So you got the pipeline working there, Coach?
And trying to keep it, with Katie Creel.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, because I'm showing my age because I covered Katie Creel when she hooped at U of H.
That's right.
So, yeah, I remember her playing days at the University of Houston. Now she's an assistant coach at DeSoto. So that's good, man, because there's a lot of talent at DeSoto, as you know. So
exactly. When they just had one commit to Texas, one commit to Kentucky, another one went to Texas Tech. So it's a lot of talent there.
Who you got in your non-conference schedule? Well, no. First, let's talk about it because one of the games, the Cancun Challenge.
Yes.
So talk about the Cancun Challenge. right now, unless I can get somebody to stay with my mom, I'm not going to go. But I still got the plane ticket, so we'll see. We still got some time to make it work, but we'll see how that goes. Let's talk about the Cancun Challenge because y'all are scheduled to play Baylor in the Cancun
Yes.
Challenge. So talk about that, Coach. How did that happen? How did it? Because weren't you guys supposed to play in that last season?
We were supposed to play in it last year because of COVID. They tried to move it to Florida, and then they were lining up teams, and so just like everybody else across the country, administration started saying, you need to do less travel and those kind of things, and so they didn't want us to travel to go and play tournaments, and then the risk of trying to play 3 games in one place in hotels and kids moving around and beaches and all that kind of stuff. And it was just going to be too tempting for the kids to try to get out and try to do stuff and possibly contact COVID. And now instead of knocking out one team, your team, you're going to knock out 3 teams. And then how are you going to get those teams to travel back when they got COVID because you can't get on the flight, that kind of stuff. So it's just going to open up a whole kind of worm. So that's why we didn't do the tournament last year. But yeah, we looking forward to it. We're originally supposed to play Florida State in the Cancun Challenge, but I don't think they're traveling out of the country again this year. And that's how we picked up Baylor, and Arizona State and Fordham is the 3rd team. And just looking forward to coming out of this year. And we had 3 Power 5 wins last year. I think we had 3. We just wanted to make sure we continue to keep our name relevant. We want to always play top competition, and Baylor is right up there when you're talking about top 5 in the country. Again, we were always talking about was an opportunity to play against Baylor in Texas. I think I talked to you about that as well. So why not? Again, at the end of the day, all of our kids know all of their kids, and I think it's about a mentality. Kim Mulkey, I thought she was, a hell of a coach, and brought a mentality to those kids. So now we have to see how they perform without her. Nikki is a great WNBA coach, and first time coach in college as a head coach. I know she was an assistant with her husband Tom out of Arkansas a while back, but the times have changed now. So again, we're looking forward to that matchup, just like Arizona State, who will be looking for some revenge against us. And then Fordham, a team that we lost to 2 years ago, that we'll be looking for some revenge to. When we play in their tournament up there. So I thought it would be some really challenging games, some games that can put us on the map, some games that'll make the committee take notice. And help us in the strength of schedule when it comes to that net.
We're almost done, Coach. But speaking with Ronald Hughey, head coach of U of H women's basketball, can you disclose any other non-conference opponents yet?
Yeah, we just signed a contract to do a home and home with Florida State.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
starting this season?
Starting this season, we'll travel there first. Then they'll come back to us. And our SEC AAC challenge is Alabama again. So we'll go there again just because last year was a COVID year and we just picked up a game when we went there. So those 2 will be really good games for us. And I think one of the other games we just got the contract back on is at Stephen F. Austin.
Okay.
And so those are some of the non-conference games that we're really looking forward to, and I thought would help our strength of schedule and be able to put us where we need to be.
I think the AAC has gone back to 16 conference games. Is that right?
Exactly, 16 conference games.
So that means more non-conference games. Do you like that?
I would love to be at 18 conference games. I think that's what the men are doing.
Yes.
I think I would love to be there, and but it's all the same, Chris. It's all about the left column. You just got to win your games, whether you're playing 16, 18, or 20.
What are your thoughts on ESPN Plus and AAC women's basketball?
I thought it was a tremendous platform for us. I think we need to do more. I think it needs to be a place where people just like turning the 206 ESPN. I think it needs to be that kind of a revenue for us, because again, when you're talking about people going there and watching those games, I think it needs to be where again, it's a household thing for us. We need to own that. I know it's a lot of conferences in the Big East and all those people and everybody that plays on there, but I think if we can get more of our games on there, more people are more competitive and winning, it'll lead to us using that platform and being able to create more from that. You know, I'm still dreaming of the days that, like UConn used to do the big Mondays and the big Thursdays. I want to have opportunities to do those things. Again, I think that platform would be something great for us if we could be able to elevate to that.
I think staff, coaches across the country are about to hit the recruiting trail. What are you looking for in future Cougars?
We have a checklist. We look for them with, all the kids are going to be talented always, but we look for, whether they're coachable, whether they're going to be able to take some hard coaching or they want somebody to pat them on the back for everything, whether they have some leadership ability, how do they handle adversity when they're down? Do they lose themselves, or do they fuss at everybody else, or do they try to pick people up? Do they continually play hard? Everybody talk about we want kids to play hard, but that's demonstrated on the court each and every time. Who they are as a person, their character come out when they're around the gym and they're waiting on games and those kind of. They're a kid that's going to be uptight and worried, or they're going to be somebody that's loose and ready to go. Those things matter. Or they're going to be an overthinker when they get on the floor. It's a simple play, or you're going to overthink those things. Always we want to get bigger in size. You already know at this level, the Power Fives always try to chew up all the post players. So we want to try to get our nails in some in 23, 24, to be able to get them, to come to the University of Houston, to play in our system. You got to be a 3-level scorer. I think that's one of the best things that we have is kids that can shoot the three, can get to the pull up and get to the rim. And those are things that we do because it's based on the motion offense that we have. The other thing is being aggressive all the time. Because, Kris, we defend, we guard. So we can't take kids that want to play in zone systems in AAU and high school and think we're going to transfer on them to coming and being a high pressure, 94 feet, the entire game, 40 minutes of pressing when they're not used to that and they're getting their bodies to do that. So we like to get kids from pressing systems. So those are the things that we'll be looking for when we go out this summer.
Two more things. One, what are your thoughts on the transfer portal?
The transfer portal, I think, is going to be good for the kids that, are needing to go someplace and get an opportunity. I think all these grad transfers that, just decided after 3 years, I'm graduating early and I want to go someplace else. I think they're going to be making a big mistake. It's just like you can't go someplace and put all that work in and create a legacy and then at the last minute switch. I want to go someplace else for another year because it might look better or something like that. And some of them have good opportunities, some of the kids, the girl Chloe that left LSU to go to Baylor, won a national championship. She knew she was going to a system that fit her. They didn't have a point guard, that kind of stuff. But everybody is not going to have that situation. And I think a lot of coaches are going to make a lot of mistakes with the transfer portal just because it's just like you and I sitting in front of candy. We're going to keep grabbing it, eating it. Next thing you know, our tooth are going to be hurting. I think they're going to make a lot of mistakes just because these kids, it's easy. You don't have to recruit them, but maybe 2 weeks, and then they're coming, It's not like when you have to go out now and be able to find them, look, and then nurture them and build a relationship with them and all of that. And then on top of that portal, kids are coming from different cultures and different places. So you don't know what you're bringing into your program. You don't know if you're bringing somebody who like to do drugs, somebody who have mental health issues, somebody who's whatever it is, and you could be bringing somebody who's in a leader and a captain as well, on the other side of that. But excuse me. So with us, we only get kids out of the portal that we've had a previous relationship with. Tiara Young, we had a previous relationship with. We missed out on her coming out of high school, and we were in our top 3 then, and we had a chance to get her back. For 2, I already knew Rooney and Grover at JUCO when she was there. I tried to get her there, but then she went to Purdue. So we already ingrained with these kids. They know us, and the numbers and families are already in our phone. So that's the way we try to get around the portal. I just don't think it's going to be a good thing for all programs. I think you have to be selective on it every year. To probably get one kid, but I don't think you can live there. So we're not trying to live there. We're trying to continue to do what we've been doing.
And one last thing, U of H has announced fans will be back allowed in the Fertitta Center, full capacity. How important is that going to be?
Tremendously important, especially coming off a year that we have. Like I know, Kris, we've been battling trying to get the fans in. So we've done some things now earlier. So we're doing things with our fan base now, with sending them stuff and doing things and season ticket holder and floor seats and all those kind of things, planning all kind of stuff early so we can get crowds to the game. It's one thing that, when you go play South Florida and they got 3,000 there, 1,800. When you go to UCF, they're right around 1,000, 1,100, that kind of stuff. We want to get to a consistent, above 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, and that's the thing that we're trying to work on now. Our product has gotten better on the floor. Our kids are great, especially when you're talking about a classroom and character and that kind of stuff. So now we're just trying to get people to come and see and be able to do that. And that's where that platform of, ESPN3 and, that kind of stuff kind of gives you if we didn't have that, maybe they'll come to the game. But no, we need to have them both. We need to have them both, but we have to have those butts in the seats. We have to have them in there.
Is there anything you want to mention as we close it out?
Name, image, and likeness, Kris. We have to talk about that.
Well, I didn't know if you want to talk about it. So, I mean, the program was announced yesterday, liftoff. So what are your thoughts on it?
I think liftoff is going to be tremendous for us. I just love it. It gives, Kris, it's so good that Layla Blair or any of our players, and I just use Layla as an example, or I can use Julia Blackshell-Fair. Julia, is a kid that's already out in the community doing stuff. People always want to call and want to talk to her, and can you get her to talk to our kids and mentor? Now they get a chance to be able to say, I am this person, and if you want to invest in me, you can. I think that's so tremendous, long as they don't let it get involved with athletics, and they're not, it's not, what is it, the BCD or CBD or whatever that kind of stuff is. It's not stuff, is not things that's outlined that are prohibited by the NCAA, OnlyFans, we can't have that kind of stuff promoting parties or whatever, but it's nothing for Starbucks to say we'd like to have Layla Blair come sign autographs at our place and, promote this because they all drink the stuff, that kind of stuff. I just think it's a tremendous opportunity for those kids to understand now that they can have an opportunity to build their legacy and their wealth right now. I think it's tremendous for them to be able to do that. Now they can understand why it's financially, to get the financial literacy, to be able to say, if you do get something, now I can be able to put it in my bank account or my LLC that I got my name under, and it's my business. I've never even heard of an LLC until I started working camps, and I got in, I was 25, 26 years old. They're being introduced to it at 18. That's tremendous. It just helps the generation and just helps our families and our culture as a whole. So I'm really excited about it, and the way we're doing it at U of H, and it's just tremendous because everybody's involved. Everybody from our AD, Chris Pesman and Lauren and Zova Compliance, and they all are really, really great. And the kids can walk in and ask questions because I'm still walking in and trying to find out. And it's changing every single day. The rules are different. Like we thought Jasmine can be able to go home and have a camp and be able to make money for it and all that. But the rules are different in Missouri, Kansas City versus in Texas. So that's the stuff like we're still trying to figure out and things like that. So, but I think it's tremendous for them.
And it all begins July 1st. Looking forward to it. It's going to open up a lot of eyes and ears for some folks who be looking at, wow, he made that, she got that. Yeah, be ready for it, folks. July 1st, name, image, and likeness is coming to you across the country.
Exactly. I just hope they put a cap on the number that these kids can make, because I think some of these football guys.
Well, it's going. Yeah, it might come to that because I'm hearing some stuff
Yeah.
tossed around. So yeah, Ronald Hughey, head coach of U-Base women's basketball. Thank you for the time, Coach. You take care.
Kris, always great, man. I appreciate it. Thank you for what you do for women's basketball as a whole, and continue to be great. Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.